Good morning. Good afternoon. I got some acrylic sheets. Or some leftover pieces that I think one of them will do just fine. Make a little window here in the OSB panel so we can get some light in here. One of the things we'll be doing. Also, it's time to upgrade the solar again. Well, this had some time to dry. Smells like rabbit food I used to buy. Tomatoes are doing great. And more are still coming. Should have already done this a month ago. But filled the base up with hay or straw. And over time it also becomes some nice mulchy stuff for next season. Also still need to stake some more tomatoes here. Some plants. They've just been going wild. And the chickpeas, I stopped trying to save them by cutting. This heat is just too much. Even some have some new shoots at the base. They start and then within a week they quit. So today I'm adding the second battery, and they need to be both completely topped up before working together. So I haven't been running the fridge today. It won't be until we're done. Anyways, this one is done. That's an old one. This is the new one. And I just came back from a quick run to this local store. Luckily had heat shrink wrap for water well pumps. I have a lot of sleeves, but they weren't large enough for the largest cable, and especially that one I want to do right. It's the cable for the inverter, 70 mil, and these are 16 euros a meter. But that's what you need when you want to run the inverter at max capacity and continuously. And this is always the fun part. You think, well, you get a cable with the inverter, but which is often with these is that they are not good enough. But solar is fun. That's why I didn't do it yesterday, because once you start, it takes up a lot of time. And that's because I don't know if there's anything else that makes me think so much continuously as solar does. Every little step to get it right, because everything is in relation to each other. You have to prepare. And even then you run into surprises. Spent almost 2 hours trying to get the lug on the thick wire, and it wouldn't go on. Just got worse and worse. So I'm cutting my losses. I'm pretty over this by now. Yep. So, angle grinder makes things worse. All the heat makes it also expand. Just look at this mess. It's also not going to fit. I don't have a cutter big enough. Still managed to make it worse. I did get the positive cable done. Hey. Yeah, because I cut the plastic back perfectly. This here was too long, so I had to cut bit by bit the strands, and they lose their individual. There's like pockets of 6, yeah, 7, 8 collections of strands, and they need to stay intact. So, and no angle grinder, which I was going to use later to cut 3 pieces of the thinner cable. That's not going to work. I shrink wrap. Wasn't too happy how that went. It's too thick, I reckon, but it looks like it's on. Yeah, just want to put it all down for the day. I hope my off-camera project, late morning project, yields better results, which is gluing the chair. also still seems to widen with the hacksaw. At this rate, nothing will be left. Success where I wasn't expecting any. Went to the local hardware store trying to get some small hose clamps to try and hacksaw it again, but where normally it would be something of a specialty tool, since it's a crescent moon shaped cutter and it needs to be a large one at that. Even in the big city online, the stores only had smaller ones available. But the local hardware store had a bigger, smaller one, which could just be enough for the large cable, but will be for the smaller ones, which is more important because that one's for the battery. Also, the store had, for their own use, one of the large cutters. So I fixed the cable with that. Should be able to fit the lug on. See, this is a 10 stud. This is an 8 stud. Those are all the things that you have to think about when you're drawing up your solar plan. Here we're back to 8. We have another fuse. We're back to 8. Yeah, so these cables are heavy duty. So the cables need to be able to handle a lot of amperage with space to spare in a hot room. Oh, not great. Twisting of the wood has been, the green wood has been really hard. It just broke off screws. Oh, there it all goes. Shh, dang it. cuts like a dream. New blade, and I reckon too proper power output, voltage available. Boa tarde, conseguiste mais fácil com o mini Jimny com o Pedro.
Ah? E não liguei a tração às 4 rodas.
Pois eu estava a ouvir, nada disso.
É para a tua casa?
É para a minha casa.
É para esta casa. Olha, tua?
As avalanches?
Avalanches.
Como é que é?
São avalanches.
Levas
com um martelo nozes. Tanto que fizeste negócio de nozes.
Não, eu sei, mas isso são as avalanches, não são?
Amêndoas.
As amêndoas. Eu confundo os dois. E ovinhos.
É para tu teres cá, quando te jantas cá, que não tens mais nada, comes ovo.
Olha, e posso pôr no frigorífico.
Podes e deves.
Atenção aqui.
Já tem vidros, cara.
Ai, caramba, isto é mesmo chique.
Então não é. Já estava a pensar para cá, mudar-me para cá eu.
E está fresco coisa, normal é 40 graus aqui dentro. Está bom.
Olha, isto vale mais que nem sei o quê.
Não é?
Que 1000 cafés lá na Brasileira.
É. Little melon cracked open. Looks like it's been more than ripe for a while. But I was still hoping that maybe it was a variety that would still grow a bit larger. But it's the ones with the clear stripes, they stay small. To me the plant is like nature's little fridge as long as they stay on there. There's limits, and the cucumber is the same thing now. There's so many of them. And they're big, and the plant is withering away a bit because it is sustaining so many cucumbers. So one of the issues with OSB panel, from what I understood, is that panels are not great with water over time, which makes sense, right? It's all pressed flakes of wood glued together. But the worst are the edges where the water ingresses easily. It really sucks it in. So I'm filling it with wood filler. You know, I like the original wood colors, the combination, much better. But this is mainly just for weather sealing. I want it to last probably at least 2 years. So the other option was of course still the oil-based paints, but going over with it about it with some people, they mentioned how OSB, especially these edges, tends to suck up the paint, needs a lot of layers, and instead just use the water-based acrylic, get that almost plastic layer on there, and that should do the job just fine. Good morning, on one of the coolest mornings in a while. Temperature is going to drop soon, maybe even for some rain in a few days. So some of these OSB panels haven't dried yet, or with the morning moisture it's taking a bit longer. Well, I wanted to flip the door around and paint that. So put everything back on. Tompa.
A janelinha já certinho.
Olha o bronze. Já estou quase como o construtor, hein?
Pá, está quase. Eu tenho tudo aqui.
Este já estava, mas voltei a pôr agora.
Então,
A porta, porque este ainda vou pintar uma... Isso só levou uma vez. Isto parei umas 3 vezes, porque vai ficar mesmo ao sol e tudo. Mas este eu ainda vou pôr o Sudoflex mais uma vez. E por fora...
mais isolado de volta.
Porque já leva por dentro, já leva na parte de dentro a madeira, mas pôr uma segunda layer. Depois ver se eu ainda posso, não sei se depois ainda meto isto mais para dentro e depois ponho massa por cima.
É, põe um bocadinho de massa e pintas outra vez.
Ainda lembras como começamos com o teu... Onde é que estamos?
Agora tens aí já uma central.
Olha,
O que é aqui, não?
olha.
Está pequenino.
Então a entrar 9.000, daqui a nada vai para 80, menos 80. Depois toca madeira e não leva mais 20 amperes.
30 a 80.
Sim. Joking. Right. plastic window is nicely glued now to the frame and the panel, and it's letting that beautiful light in. And I must say, ever since I got this door in, and I closed it a few times from the inside, that this felt a little bit like home. I really wasn't expecting that with this building. The idea was to get that building initially closed off, but necessity pushed us here, and yeah, it's a nice feeling. And most of this is finished, still not completely, but at least it's some parts painted multiple times. Still got to do a finishing painting on the inside, but the weather sealing is done, and that's just on time since outside a bit of foul weather is developing for the next few days. But I should have been working on the video already, but kept going, of course, because this has to be closed off again, and now it is, permanently. And what took extra time was the solar, which has been upgraded. And the thing is, just with a 12-volt system nearing its upper limit, you got to make sure that all the individual pieces fit nicely together to avoid issues. But that's working, and it's also very nice to see. Panel next, and one more battery. But yeah, a little place that we can close off now properly. Something special.